to all. Today's daf is Yerushalmi Brachot daf lamed vav. We are starting. Shalom to all. Today's daf is Yerushalmi Brachot daf lamed vav. We are starting at the top of the daf with the brand new halacha, and in the Vilna Sursa daf, it's Chaf Daled Amud Aleph on the bottom with the brand new halacha. And today's daf is sponsored Lilu Nishmas Mars Miriam Zara Bas Rabbi Yaakov Moshe. Her neshama should have an aliyah. Now, when we do with Kvuras Hames, we have something called the Shura, the row, and this was a row of people that would console the Avelim after the Kvura. Now, later on, we're going to see if the Avelim would stand and the Shura of people would pass by them, or if the Avelim would pass by the people. Now, Halacha Beis tells us, the Mishnah says, Kavros HaMeis, once they buried the mace, v'chazru, and then they got back, meaning they went to the place where the Shura was going to be. If the people that are going to be part of the Shura are able to start saying Kriya Shema and finish it, which means they're going to be able to complete the first paragraph or the first pasuk before they get to the Shura, Yaschilu, so then they should do so. Vim lav, but if not, lo Yaschilu, they shouldn't do so. That's because they're involved in the mitzvah of being Menachem Avel. The Mishnah continues, Ha'imdin b'Shura, the ones that are already standing in the Shura, Hapnimiyim Peturin, the ones that are in the inner row, they are pater because they're involved in Nichem Avelim. Hachitzonim Chayavin, but the ones that are in the outer rows, they're Chayiv because they're not immediately involved in Nichem Avelim. I think Gemara tells us, Tani, we have a brayso, Ein Matzinas HaMeis Samach LaKriya Shema, wouldn't take out a mace around Zman Kriya Shema, Elam Kenik Dimu Shah Achas, Oyim Ichru Shah Achas, unless they proceeded by an hour or delayed by an hour, Kadesh Yekru Ve'ispalu, this is so that they could say Kriya Shema and Daven Shema Esrei. Now this does mean that they have to precede an hour or delay an hour. This just means that they have to start the Levaya and the Kvura with enough time that they're going to be able to be finished so that they could still say Kriya Shema and Daven Shema Esrei, or they should delay it so that they can first say Kriya Shema and Daven and only then do the Levaya. Ask the Gemara Vatanina, and we learned in our Mishnah, Kavros HaMeis v'chazru, once they buried the mace and then they got back, and then there's this whole discussion, if they have enough time to say Kriya Shema before they get to the Shura, then they should, if not, then they don't say Kriya Shema. So we see that the Levaya was being done at the time of Kriya Shema, and there wasn't enough time to say Shema. So Gemara says, no, Tifta, we could explain, but Elin Dehavan Sovereign the Isbei Ana, with these people that thought that there would be enough time, but less Ana, but there wasn't enough time. Classic example of everything schlepping and taking way longer than you thought that it would, and that's what our Mishnah is talking about. And the Gemara continues, Tani, we have a brayso. Ha-hesped, v'chala oiskim b'hesped, the one that's giving the hesped, the one that's giving the eulogy, and anyone that's involved in the eulogy, meaning they're listening to it, mafsikin le-kriya shema ve'in mafsikin le-tefillah. They have to stop to say kriya shema, but not tefillah, not daven shema esrei. Ma'asahaya, there was a story of Ifsiku Rabbi Sinu le-kriya shema ula-tefillah. Our Rabbanan stopped to say kriya shema and to daven shema esrei. Ask the Gemara, v'atanin and imichal lahascha v'ligmar. We have learned in our Mishnah, if they're able to start and complete it, then they should. But if not, then they shouldn't. So it seems to be that we have a stira. So Gemara says, no, Masnisa b'yam Rishon. Our Mishnah is talking about the first day of Avelos, meaning the day of the Kvura. That's when the tsar of the person passing away is extremely strong, and therefore there is no chiyuv to stop the eulogies to say Shema. And this price that says that they have to stop, that's talking about the second day of Avelos and on, where the feelings of Avelos are less extreme. Now, once we had mentioned this concept, if a person has enough time to do this, then fine. If not, not. So we have something related. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Rav Duma. A person walks into shul and he sees that they're standing down Shemana Esrei. If he knows that he's going to be able to start Shemana Esrei and finish it, before the Shliach Tzibur is going to start Chazar Sashat, and he's going to be able to answer Amen Yispal, so then he should daven. But if he's not going to have enough time to finish a Shemana Esrei before the Shliach Tzibur is going to get to a particular Amen, Al Yispal, so then he shouldn't daven Shemana Esrei yet. The Gemara asks, Be'eza Amen Amru, in regards to what Amen did they say this? Meaning, what Amen does he have to be able to get to? So the Gemara says, Train Amayraim, we have two different Amayraim that comment on this. Chad Amar, one of them says, Ba'amen Shel Kel HaKadosh, the Amen of Kel HaKadosh, V'chad Amar, Ba'amen Shel Shemei HaTfilah, the other one says, the Amen of Shemei HaTfilah. And Rav Pinchas says, V'lei Pligi, they're not arguing. Man Demar, Ba'amen Shel Kel HaKadosh, the one that says that he has to finish Shemona Esrei in enough time that he's going to be able to answer Amen to Kel HaKadosh of Chazar Sashat, B'Shabbos, that's referring to Shabbos. When we don't say Shemei HaTfilah, Man Demar, B'Shemei HaTfilah, B'chol, the one that says that he has to finish Shemona Esrei in enough time to be able to answer Amen of Shemei HaTfilah, that's talking about during the week where there is a bracha of Shemei HaTfilah. Now the Farshim say that we see from here that the Amen of a Kel HaKadosh and Shemei HaTfilah are very important, and one should make sure that he answers those Amens. Now we say in the Mishnah Apnimi and Peturim that the ones standing on the inner row, they're right near the Avelim, they're pater from saying Kriya Shema, but the ones in the outer row, they're Chayiv. Now Tani Rav Yehuda says, Hayu Kulam Shura Achaz, let's say all the Menachmim were standing just in one row, and there wasn't multiple rows, so there would still be enough community between the different people, and not everyone is going to be pater from saying Shema. Ha'im Dim Mishum Kavod, the ones that are just standing there for Kavod, they're just trying to honor the person that had passed away, they're trying to honor the Avelim. Chayavin, they would be chayav to say Shema, Mishum Avel, but if they're to be Menachem Avel, Peturin, so then they're potter from saying Shema. Now continuing with this, Yardu Lispeid, once they went down to give Hespeidim, this is the place where they would officially give Hespeidim. So Harayin Panim Peturin, the ones that see the faces of the Avelim, they're potter, meaning they're on the inner rows. V'she'ein Rayin Panim Chayavin, but the ones that do not see them, they're in the back rows, they're chayav to say Shema. Now Lamavav based on top, the Gemara tells us Have Hadad Taninon, that which we learned in our Mishnah, Ha'imdim B'Shura, regarding the ones that were standing in the Shura, Hapanimiyim Peturin, V'Achitzainim Chayavim, that the ones on the inner row, they're potter, and the ones on the outer row, they're chayiv. Skip the next two words, Mishnah Achrayna, Hadad Tani, that's what was taught in the Brisa that we had mentioned on Amud Aleph, Ha'imdim Mishum Kavod, the ones that are there for Kavod, Chayavin, they're chayiv. Mishum Avel Peturin, if they're there for Avel, they're potter. But what do we see from both of these? Mishnah Rishayna, this is all going based off of the original teaching or the original minig that they used to have, that the Avelim would pass by the Shura. The Shura people that were Menachem the Avelim would be stationary, and the Avelim would pass by them. Behind the Tani and Taman, and that which we learned over there in Maseches Sanhedrin, that Uchshu Menachem es Ha'acherim, that when he, the Kohen Gadol, is being Menachem other people, Derech Chol Am Ayrim Zachar Zeh, it's the manner of the people that they pass one after another. V'Hamamuna, and the assistant Kohen Gadol, Mematzoi Beinu Lebein Ha'am, he would position the Kohen Gadol between himself and the people, meaning the Kohen Gadol was in the middle, the Memuna was on one side, and the people were on the other side. Mishnah Achrayna, that's according to the later teaching, that's according to the later minhag, that the Avelim would be stationary and everyone else would pass by them. And Amar Chanina tells us, originally, the families that came to Menachem Avel, they would be stationary, they would stand, and the Avelim would pass by them. But Misharabas Tachris B'Tzipairin, once fights and rivalry started in Tzipairi, where the families started arguing about where they're supposed to stand. This is my place, no, that's my place. Hiskin Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta. Rabbi Yossi ben Chalafta was mitakin Sheyuah Mishpachas Ayvros v'Avelim Aimdin, that the families would pass by and the Avelim would be stationary. Now Amar Shimon de Hesefta, he says Chazru Advarim L'Yashnan. Everything went back to what originally was, that the families would be stationary and the Avelim would pass by them. We're going to stop here for the day, pick up tomorrow with a brand new halacha. For now, everyone should have a wonderful day.